Hello everyone, welcome back to another session by K21 Academy. Today our expert trainer will be discussing about K8s cluster troubleshooting. So let's get into the video.
Can you show me what all nodes I have? What's going on there? It's complaining to me that I'm unable to connect. And it's also telling me in the question, can you ensure that you're using the right host or the right port? Okay, good. I don't know. Maybe this is the right port or right host. Where can we look at it? Now, kubeconfig is the file what we made use of to connect. Right. So when I say kubecat will get nodes, a config file. Remember, we spoke about the config file. That is the guy who has all my information about my server endpoint, the port, where my API server is listening to, so it can do a post to it. Right now, this is not working. What can I do? So how can I verify if it is the right host or right port? You can unmute yourself. I'm stuck right now. I don't know how to move forward. All of you have to help me so that I can move forward. I'm trying to talk to my API server. It's telling connection refused. It's telling, can you ensure you're using the right host or right port? How can I know what is the right API address? Where can I look now that I'm in the master node? Can you guys hear me okay?
You can check the IP address of that static pod, kubeAPI server pod.
Okay, so you think this is the
HCD Kubernetes manifest folder.
beautiful. So you think this is the API server's IP address or the pod's IP address or the server, the host IP address is this?
It looks to be a host IP address.
Yep. Okay. So where do we go? We go to /etc/Kubernetes/manifest. Right. We have a manifest file called as kube API server here. When I open the manifest file, the advertise address. This is what we're talking about. This is where your API server advertise URL. That is the host IP. So when you set up the cluster, it looks for when you did kubeADM in it, default it looks for whatever network interface you have. That is the IP address is going to pick. So if you have more than two interfaces, network interfaces on your host, you need to mention this as an option. It does not become an option anymore. It becomes a as in the mandatory argument you need to pass to kubeADM init hyphen advertise address. Right now it is telling me this is the address 192.168.100.11. That looks like correct for me. Good. And I should also ensure that it's listening on this port. Right now the host looks fine. Maybe the port might be wrong. There are a couple of ways of looking at it. One, I come back again, look in the manifest file itself. It tells you, oh, the secure port where it is defined, we're passing that as an argument, is 6443. And here we are making use of 6993. So API server actually is listening at this port and we are searching for it at some other port, and that's why we're not able to talk to it. It's the wrong address, correct? So we need to fix it. This is one way. This is what you should also look at. From manifest file, we try to look at it. We can also make use of few Linux commands as well, like you can grep for API to see if the API server is running or not. That pod is running or not. We don't know that as well, correct? If the port number is correct, okay. Sorry, my bad. I'm jumping my guns. What we realize right now, it is running at 6443. And what we were trying to do is 9663, which is wrong. Right? We're looking at the wrong port number. We need to fix it. Where do I need to fix it right now? So we kind of know what the problem is, but you have to tell me where to fix it.
You
Okay.
can edit address in config file. Yeah.
All right. And where do I go for the config file? Where is my config file? cd/etc
in
config.
the folder.
All right, beautiful. In the home directory of the user, there's a hidden folder called as .cube, and there's a file called as config, which kubectl looks for, which contains my API server endpoint details. Here, I had modified it to something else, so you were not able to connect to it. We're going to change it here, 6443. Good, fair enough. I'm going to save this, come out, just verifying if it is the same thing. What I made changes is saved or not. Looks like it is. Good. What do I do right now? Let's come back and rerun that same command, kubectl get nodes. Again, everything is correct right now, but it's still coming back and complaining. Connection was refused. Maybe the API server itself is not running. It's not listening at 6443. That is the reason when you're trying to post it at that port, it is not available there. You can make use of I should have done -i or SS is there. Yeah. Uh, you looked at Linux commands like SS, and we look at 6443. Nobody is listening at the port 6443. That's one way, and it shows you what all are listening on your port. You have port 2253 and some other ports may be making use by HCD and stuff. We don't find 6443 here. I can also do pipe and grep. Again, few basic Linux commands like SS, lsof, netstat, which kind of tells you if what ports are being listened. You should also be aware of few of them, basically. Okay. Now this tells me, and also another way is PS shows all the processes running on your server. I can also list all of them and grep for API, and I see that Kube API server is not running. So right now the port number and the host is all correct, but the API server itself is not running. That's the reason why this error is what we're getting. Now this API server in our case, when we set up a cluster using kubeadm, runs as what? It runs as static pod. Correct? There are two ways of looking at it right now. So who manages the static pod? Static pod.
Kubelet.
Yep. From next question, Pankaj is not allowed to answer. All right? Because no, I mean, not putting in a spot here, but you always answer correctly. I want others also to participate. Okay?
Yeah, sure.
All right, awesome. If they don't, then maybe. Good. So who manages is kubelet who's managing. So what do I need to do is I need to check if my kubelet is healthy or not. How do I do that? Hold on to that answer, Pankaj. Anybody else other than Pankaj?
We can do grep kubelet like PSAUX grep kubelet.
Okay, good. What other way? Kubelet is running as a system service. That's a hint.
Journal CTL something like that.
Journal CTL is for looking at the logs. Okay, we can look at the logs that way as well. Before even you look at the logs, one more important thing.
We have to check like whether the kubelet status is running systemctl command.
Yeah. From next question
Systemctl.
onwards, even Pratik is also banned.
Okay.
No, I'm just joking there. I mean, you and Pankaj always get the right answers. I want others also to participate. That's the point. Good.
Okay.
That's the correct answer what I told. Okay. Systemctl is the command I was pointing to. Journalctl also is a good command, which we look at the logs at the daemon level. We will go there. Once we know something is wrong with this guy, we will go there. Status is another command of system service called as kubelet. And what do I see here? I see this guy has been dead. That's the reason. Maybe my API server and everything else is also down. Maybe, I don't know. Right? This has been dead. Pay attention here. Pay attention here. Okay, anyway, we will start this guy. I'm going to make use of systemctl command. I can just do restart kubelet. When you look at this line here, it shows as disabled. Right? So what happens in disabled? So when a service is disabled, and now I'm going to start it, it is going to get started. It's going to work fine, absolutely fine. But when the system reboots, this service is not going to start automatically. So for that to happen, you need to have this service enabled. Like if you open your Windows services.msc, for those who have Windows laptop, it shows you different services, right? Let me quickly do that from myself. Services.msc. In Windows world, we have something like this, right? Which shows you what all services running on your machine. Maybe double click on it, shows you if it is running, where you can set it to automatic. We can set it to manual. When you want to start, you can set it to disabled. It gets disabled, turned off. When you reboot it, it's not going to come back up. If you set it to automatic, system reboots automatically, that service also is going to start. Equivalent is our systemctl on our Linux side. What happened? Why is this kind of closing now? So we realize this service also has been disabled. So just starting the kubelet is going to start right now, but I also need to ensure it is enabled so that a reboot happens. This service comes up automatically. All right, fair enough. So how do we do that? Couple of Linux commands. Systemctl enable is the command, and there's an option called --now. What this --now is going to do, it's also going to enable the service and going to start it as well. Two commands combined into one. Systemctl enable kubelet, systemctl start kubelet is equivalent to --now. Now, if you go back and look at the status, it says it's active and running. Okay, now kubelet is coming up. Maybe it should go fix my API server and it should bring it up. Right? Good. kubectl get nodes. So we looked at various points. If you're taking notes, take a note. Config file is where we looked at first. As in, if I have the right port or not, we looked at the manifest file. Config file can be a potential question. Here is a cluster I'm not able to connect. Fix it. Do whatever it needs to do and ensure I'm able to talk to it. Using kubectl, I'm not able to talk to my cluster. Maybe there's a problem in the config file itself. Simple question. The port number is wrong or API advertised server address is wrong. Look at the manifest file, fix it, done. 2 marks, 3 marks, 5 marks. If there is a question around, make a note of that. All right. Then we looked at everything was right, but API server itself was not running. We looked at the kubelet status because it's running as the static pod, right? And the point we paid attention to is this. It was dead for some whatever reason. We don't have to care. We started it, but while starting, we also paid attention that it remains started even after reboots as well by enabling it. So the fix what you're doing is permanent. You should ensure you always do it that way. In exam, if there is a question where a node is not ready, fix this, whatever marks in your pocket, we'll get there. Okay, good. Now that we started the kubelet, it is running in the status of, we looked at the status command and it shows kubelet also is up and running, but my API server still not coming up. Still not coming up. POS is not working and any other command. So I need to, maybe there's something wrong with my API server. Static pod, I understand kubelet needs to start. Maybe there was some error introduced in the manifest file, and because of that, the pod is not coming up. Possible. I need to look at the logs. Where can I go look at the logs is the next question. Right? Somebody said we can look at the journalctl logs. Yes, those are which are running as services on my machine on this host. All of them get logged to war ADM messages or war log messages and things like that. And journalctl is a good command which combines all the system generated logs to view all of them. Journalctl maybe -u kubelet kind of shows you the kubelet logs. Journalctl is a Linux command. You should also know how to troubleshoot it, not from the CKA point of view, generally from troubleshooting sysadmin, CKA admin point of view. That's also one of the Linux command you need to pay a little attention to. All right. Now, Everything is fine. My pod is not coming up. Problem is with my pod, not with my service. My kubelet is up. So where can I look at the pod logs? Is the question. Take note. /var/log /pods. On every node where your pods go, this is the default path. /var/log/pods. Node 1, node 2, when your pods go there, your pods log go here. Good. Where do I go and see here? So I'm going to go look at there are many folders. API server, there's a long random hash value. There's a folder here. I'm going to cd into it. There's another folder called as Kube API server. I'm going to go inside it, look for the log file here. It shows you some log file. Okay. We're going to open this log file and it's throwing some error to me. Telling, listen, now there's some error. In the authorization mode, there's something called, something is added here, which I don't understand. Right? So where do we go look at it? Under the authorization mode. So we go back to our /etc/kubernetes/manifest. We will open our kube-API server. Looks like there is some error which is not a valid argument. Under authorization mode is what it complained to me. Right? Authorization mode. I come back and I look at it. There is some random character being added here which Kubernetes does not understand. I'm going to get rid of this guy. Right? Some typo was there, something which it did not understand what is that mode is, and it was failing to come up. What I did is I fixed it up, and I'm going to do what? Save. Manifest file has been modified. Kubelet will try to restart it. You don't want to wait. You can also move this file out. Okay, moving the file out of the folder what kubelet looks for, and move it back /tmp/kube API server. Yeah, that's one way of restarting your API server pod, right? Because the moment you take away the manifest file, kubelet is going to kill that container because it is managing it. It's going to look at there's no manifest file. Static pod concept. We moved it out and we put it back. We fixed that, and we got to wait. We have to wait. One more thing, what we can do if we don't want to wait, we can also restart our kubelet. When we restart the kubelet, the pod also is going to get restarted. There you go. Now my API server is come up. What can I do? I can do kubectl get nodes. What is happening right now? We are able to talk to or connect to our cluster. Okay. We looked at config file, the kubelet as a service, and if there were some errors in my cluster component itself, my API server, we know where to go look at whatever the errors are. You need to fix it. The reason I showed you these var log pods, make a note. When you create, we're going to look at the HCD backup next. We have to do certain modifications when we set up, when you set up a new HCD database out there, you need to add those details in your manifest file. And while copy pasting in the exam pressure, while you introduce some typos out there, you will feel I've done absolutely everything correct, but the pod's not coming up. So you should know where to go look at. This is where you should go look at. And inside this, the random hash directories. I did not do CD only. Sorry, my bad. Like there's a folder for HCD. This is where you go and look at those logs. Okay, whatever the error you encounter, you might. That's where a lot of people mess up. That's why I introduced the var log pods as well. Anyway, let's get back. Now kubectl get nodes. Nodes are good. Looks like node 1 is gone down right now. What is going on? It's not a mess, I tell you. Kubectl get pods. Okay, there's some other mess here too. We also need to look at fixing or troubleshooting at the application point of view as well. Okay. As a CKA, you looked at few components from the cluster components point of view. Now some applications have been deployed, and those applications also, none of them are in the running state. Let's tackle one by one. And it says this guy is in pending state. Now tell me, except Pankaj and Pratik, when does a pod remain in the pending state? We spoke about the pod life cycle. When does the pod remain in the pending state?
When it's not scheduled.
Exactly. Right. So what do I do? How do I find out? Where do I look? What do I do next now?
Do you have to describe the pod?
Yes. Describe is what I was looking at. Describe is our friend, right? So kubectl describe the pod, whatever the name of the pod, kind of tells us certain things. It is giving me the events. If these events were not here at all, and the pod still remain in the pending state, that means what your scheduler is not healthy. If I turn off the scheduler right now, you won't get any events out there because scheduler itself is not running. The pod remains in the pending state. That means scheduler is not running. That is one way of identifying it. Here the story is different. The scheduler is working, default scheduler is there, but he's complaining me that what? You have 3 nodes, of which one has some taint, some has some other taint. And as a reason, I am not able to find any node for myself. So there's some taints out there. Okay. Now if you go back and do kubectl get nodes, we have nodes which show in ready state. Some node is not ready. We will come back to it. And the reason this pod is not in the ready state because there is a taint. So there are 2 ways of looking at it, fixing this. If in the exam there's a question, listen, there's a pod with CK exam as a name is in the pending state, ensure it comes to running state. Do whatever it needs to take. If there are taints, get rid of it. Or if you want to add tolerations, you can add it. As in, follow whatever the exam says. The 2 ways of fixing this guy is giving this pod a toleration for the taint what we have, so it gets scheduled somewhere and goes to running state, or taking away the taint. Depending on what they ask you in the exam, remember the taints and toleration, very elementary stuff. Edit this, generate a YAML file, copy paste the taint, and leave it, or just do kubectl get nodes. Let's do kubectl describe node cube hyphen node 2. What does it tell me? It tells me there is a taint here. I'm going to get rid of this taint. All right. How do we do that? kubectl taint, the node, which node, what key value, what effect. If I hit enter, it gets applied. If I do minus, it gets removed. I have untainted the node. Now there was a problem with that pod was it did not have any nodes to go. Now I have untainted it. That pod got scheduled onto the node. It came into the running state. If that was what was asked for me in the question, it did not tell me add toleration. They said if there are taints, get rid of them. This is what you had to do. But if they say there is a pod out there, there are taints, you need to fix it. What you need to do, drive right back to where? Go to taints and tolerations. Don't have to worry. Everything is there in the documentation. What do we do? Just come, copy this. That's all you gotta do. Whatever the operator is, it exists or equal. If we've looked at it, I'm not going to repeat it in the end of the session. Whatever the key was CKA, exist is enough. Whatever the effect, copy this toleration where under your pod spec, done. Okay. Now the question is, I don't have the manifest file. What can I do? Okay. Let's copy this guy and let's go see what can you do. You don't have the manifest file. So how do I do it? The pod is already running. Okay. So what will we do? kubectl get pod with the name CK exam shows you that, right? You can also do -o wide. Sorry, you can also do -o YAML. So it's going to show you, dump out a lot of things. I'll pipe it to a pod.yaml file. Let's open the YAML file. This is how it's going to look like. Right? There are a lot of other values which we have not added to it. So you have some tolerations here. And if you want to modify and reapply it, this is where you can generate. We did not add any of these. They were auto-generated, I know. You can leave it as it is. You don't have to worry about it, is my point. That's one way of generating your YAML file and doing it. We also know the kubectl edit command. But few of the fields, it does not allow you. Sorry, let's type KUBE. It does not allow you to modify. Well, it's okay if it doesn't allow me to modify. I will do for YY. Paste it here. Effect was what? No schedule. Let's try it if it works or not is my point. Right? SCHDULE. Key was what in our case? Key was CKA. Operator exists. Effect is no schedule. I don't need the toleration. Okay, let me save. It allowed me to add a toleration out there. What did I do? Let's look at what we did. I just went, there was some toleration. I did not even waste my time copying it from the documentation. I edited it. I copy pasted. I can add key equal to value. I don't have to waste my time. Key exists. It is enough. I'm giving it toleration. The two ways. Remember, effect and key is important. That's all we did. I copied the lines from above. I did not waste even time going to documentation. Yanked it, pasted it, saved, came out, done. This is one way. Another way we saw generating the YAML file. When you generate the YAML file of a pod which is already running, it is going to fetch everything off that pod which is stored in your etcd along with your current status and all the other default options which you did not specify are all stored out there. That can be at times confusing, but if there are few fields which you have to modify as part of troubleshooting and that is not allowed in the edit, you can always generate the YAML file. Okay, there are two ways of looking at it. We looked at both the ways. Good. Kubectl get parts. There's some more parts which we need to fix. Let's look at this guy. The exam, there's a question. It says, hey, listen, there's a part called as demo. Ensure it comes to the running state. Okay. Let's do what we did right now. Describe was the go-to command we looked at. Can you describe me this pod called as demo? Here it is doing something. Well, this was the earlier error when my kubelet was not working. Anyway, we got rid of that. Right? And there's really not much I can make out here. Correct? There is really not much I can make out from the described command. This error, we understand it's because our kubelet was not running at the time, which we kind of restarted the kubelet. It's taken care. Good. But other than that, why this pod is not running, we can't make out much. Kubectl. Now, what do I do? Where do I look? What I need to fix? What can we make sense from this error? What we see on the screen. Open to all. Pankaj and Pratik also can answer. So,
Startup process is not defined for this pod.
when you say what process, dear? Sorry, I missed you.
Starting process, starting point is not defined. That could be the reason it is going into crash loop back because it's
Right,
kubelet is
right. It is
it's a
continuously
default
restarting and
policy. Yeah.
right. Good point. Good point. Beautiful point. Hold on to that thought. Apart from that, anybody else? Pankaj is half there. That's a hint. He's looking at the right direction. What he's told is absolutely correct, but something else extra I'm expecting.
You can check that pod manifest and you can check if you have provided that command and argument field for that
Fair
container.
enough. Fair enough. We will go there, dear. Let's do this. Kubectl.
You have to check the restart policy.
Okay. We will check that as well. Kubectl get demo. That's a part of my pod name. -o YAML. This is the YAML file. Do I pipe it to a YAML file for you so that we'll open and we will take a look at it? I piped it to a YAML file. Let's open it. I will go down. Okay. We see additional information. We understand. We have containers here. The name of the container is good. Nginx is what we are running. The image also looks fine, right? So it's I have not mentioned anything, so it's coming from Docker Hub. Latest image looks like everything is fine. I don't have to do anything else. Anything else do you want me to check here? Let me get out of this page. Let me rerun this command one more time. Think of it one more time. I'm giving you a hint. You're 90% correct. In fact, what you asked me to look at also was correct. But the output is going to tell you something else. Output is telling you something else which you're subtly missing out. Come on, think hard. 90% answer was correct. Just a little small thing is what you're missing. In fact,
We
what
have
we
to
looked at
check.
also was correct. Huh?
Yeah, restart policy as on failure.
No, that should not matter here. That should not matter. See, if you look at this, restart policy is on failure, or if it is right now failing anyway, it's restarting, right? Right? Look at this. It is telling it's a init container. What's the concept of init container? The init container must always run to completion successfully. Only after that is where your main application container is going to come to running state. Right now, the init container phase, it is failing. So what I did was correct, as in the crash loop back, the error, what we realized. Who gave us that answer? That was Abdul Rahim, right? That was the correct answer there. So if you go back and we looked at the main container purposefully, I did not take you. I actually took you down, but I did not talk anything about it because this is where you catch it. Init container. If I fix the init container, the main application is going to come up. That's the concept of a init container. Correct? Something wrong with the init container right now. Wrong with the command what it is running. The image it is missing use of busy box. Oh, the command what it is running is something which is not a valid command. What do you need to do? You need to fix it. Let's fix it here. Instead of echo, there's some zeros added. Now this is a valid command. Argument what it is running. sh is the command what is running. Passing that argument is this. We have fixed it. I have saved this file right now. Again, there are two ways of looking at it. One, I have fixed the manifest file. The same manifest file which I got it from get. I did not make any changes into that other than fixing the problem what we had, the command what we're executing in the init container. I can do apply and fix it again. If the pod is not allowing, I can also do pod replace as well. Can do kubectl replace from this file demo or yammer -force. It is going to delete and recreate that. One way this is going to work, right? We will go there. Let's look at the other way we did. Kubectl edit, like the one we did for the adding toleration part of it. If I do an edit right now, and let me go back and fix it here. Okay, this is what we have to fix, right? Save it. Good. What's happening? Not getting saved. Not getting saved. My font size is little blue. I'm not sure if you guys can see it correctly. It says this is not valid. Spec, what are you trying to change is forbidden, right? Pod updates may not change fields other than container image, init container image, some active deadlines again, some tolerations which you did previously. Apart from that, you can't change many things. So it says you try to make some changes to the command what it is running right now, you can't edit it. That's not a valid change. The reason purposefully I showed you edit earlier, and I came here to show you another edit. So if edit is the only way we know, and if we get into trouble like this, we panic in the exam. We don't care anymore. The edit is not working fine, fair enough. I will get out of here. I have dumped the YAML file. I did not have the manifest file, no problem. I knew how to generate it. I generated it. This is how the YAML file looks like. The YAML file has a lot of other things as well. The status and many other things which I didn't do. I can get rid of it. You can get rid of all the status. You can get rid of the default values as well. Just leave the image name and another few things out there. You can, provided you know your application. In the exam, we don't know what that manifest file is, right? What that pod is. We can also leave it as well. So what can we do? I just changed what I needed to change, and I'm not going to worry about everything else. Fine. What will I do? Kubectl get pods. It was not running right now. Kubectl replace is what I'll do. Replace just deletes and recreates it. You can manually do it, delete and recreate as well. Replace from a file called as demo.yaml. Forcefully do it. If it does not allow you, it's going to delete that pod, add that pod. Kubectl get pods -watch. Now what is happening? When the pod came up, you see that init container completed, pod initialized, and the pod went into the running state. Pod went into the running state. I'm going to do Control C and come out of it. Kubectl get pods. 2 of them we have fixed it right now. 2 of them we have fixed it. What did we looked at here? The init container can be a potential question. Please take note. The concept is what they test you for. They say this application for some reason is not coming up. The error tells me it is an init container. So, and I know the concept. Init containers always need to run to completion. That is when my main application container is going to come up. So I fixed that. My main application is up and running. When this was little tricky per se, because when it did the describe, it did not show us. It said I pulled the image, and I don't know what's going on next. So I could have looked at the logs. I looked at the subtle word init container, and I kind of looked at maybe that can be the problem. Right? If not, next steps would have gone to logs as well. Good. Now, there are some pods again here which is not running. And it's giving you a different error. Image pull back off. Again, this is also kind of telling me where to look at. It's telling I'm trying to pull the image and it's not allowing me to pull the image. Maybe there's something wrong with this image. Good. And the name of the pod kind of tells me that it has been created by a deployment. And it can be the name of a deployment, the name of the replica set, and this is the random hash value for your pod. If I go back and do kubectl get all, I see there's a deployment which has been created. Question, there's a deployment which is not in running state, fix it, do whatever it needs to take. Or the question can be this way. There's a deployment. Let me open a notepad real quick. A deployment with name Nginx. A deployment called Nginx. Name of it, I should have named it something else. Maybe I will do it next time. But using the image latest is not running, or says ensure pods are in running status, and then create a pub service, something like this. Troubleshooting and also some other concept also combined together. This is the question. A deployment using this image is not running, ensure all the pods are in the running state, and then maybe create a service for this deployment as well. Good. Now they've given me the name, they've given me the name of the image also. And I'm going to come back and look at it here. It is telling me image pull error. Who is our favorite command? Our favorite command is describe for troubleshooting, right? So we're going to look at kubectl. Can you describe me the pod name this? And it tells me the story. It tells me something here. It says I'm failing to pull the image. There's no image with that name, or it's a private image. You need to give me some secret so I can go log in. I'm not able to pull the image. That's the error. In the question, they've given me what should be the name of the image. What do I see here? I see the name of the image is wrong. There's a typo there maybe. We need to fix it because they've told me what image it needs to use. I need to correct it, and this all the pods will go into the running state. Good. How do we fix it then? Well, it's a deployment. kubectl get all, it's a deployment. So what do we do? Same story. What story? kubectl edit is one option, correct? Because image name we can change using edit, or dump the YAML file, modify it, and make use of apply or replace. That's option number 2, right? Or while we learn deployment, we also run another command called as kubectl set image. It's going to trigger a rollout. Either ways, whatever modifications you're going to do right now, it's going to trigger out another rollout. We are okay with that. We just need to ensure the parts of this deployment in the running state. 3 different options you have. What is convenient? Usually edit is convenient, where I don't have to type, copy, paste, just go fix it, save, come out. Correct? I leave it to you, whatever is convenient to you, but you have more than one way of looking at it. Whatever you know, make use of it. Set image, if you're comfortable with that, you can do it. I'm comfortable with edit. I will say kubectl I want to edit. There's a deployment with this name nginx. All the extra stuff I'm going to leave away. I'm going to go to template, and here is the typo. I need to mention, or maybe change the question a little bit. It says nginx alpine. Okay. This is what the image name what they've given. I will come fix it here. Now you looked at it. The moment I added a tab character there, my indentation went for a toss. If I save it right now, what's going to happen? Watch. It's not allowing me. Then what will you think suddenly? Oh, maybe the changing of image name is not allowed. Why is it not allowing me to edit? It's telling me nginx is not valid. What is going on here? The image name you can definitely modify. What happened was the indentation got messed up a little bit because I need a tab character there. Just fix that. I'm just making all of these mistakes so that you can learn from it. Okay, fix it. Escape, :WQ. Now watch, it got saved. Very nice. What happened right now? kubectl get pods. Watch it. New container is getting created. The name of a container has changed. New replica set. A new rollout has happening right now. New ones are getting created. The old ones are getting terminated. Okay, I'm going to do Control C. Let's go back and look at this kubectl get pods. Old ones are getting terminated. New ones are getting created. Three was the desired state, what we had said from a deployment. 3 copies of this is available. They're all in the running state. All right. So from the application troubleshooting point of view, few scenarios is what we looked at. What is terminating will get terminated. Don't worry about it. It will die away. It's not the problem. And the problem is my node is not in ready state. What is going on right now? I need to fix my node as well. What do I do?
Describe.
Describe what? Describe is correct, but what do I
Cube
describe?
node 1.
Okay, describe the node. All right, super. So let me describe the node called as cube node. And I do describe and I hit enter right now. It's going to list me all the nodes I have. Same thing with other things as well. When I don't specify the resource name, it lists out all the resources. Like if I hit enter, it shows me everything. Node 2 is cube hyphen node 1 is what I want to look at. We can look at it. Good. What do I do now? Some events down below, right? 48 minutes old. Okay. Let me scroll up a little bit more. And here is where you have the lease time going on. Lease between your API server and your kubelet on the node. They constantly have the heartbeat going on between them. The lease time, it talks to, hey, are you awake? Yes. It holds on to that particular lease, the English word lease. Right? It leases that for some amount of time, and then the lease expires. It needs to check back in again. Right? 5 minutes is the default, I think. It came back and it's telling me right now under this condition, it's telling, listen, what is your memory? What is your network? What is your disk PID? I don't know. The reason for that is kubelet has stopped posting the node status. So I really don't know. This guy is alive, he's dead, because he's the one who would come back and talk to me. That heartbeat used to go on. It's not happening from quite some time, right? And he used to talk to me and tell me he's good or not, and that's how I knew he's alive there. And I don't know what's going on. He stopped posting the status, and that's the reason I have marked it as not ready. I've added a 10 telling that it is unreachable because he's not talking to me, and I've made it no schedule so that nothing gets scheduled there, and I've marked it as not ready because of that. So who is not talking to my API server? The only component on the nodes, which is the kubelet, and that is stop posting the node status. So we need to go and find out what's going on with the kubelet there. Let's go there.
It's
If I do SSL, there's a little bit of static here. Get your mic and ask the question one more time. So now the kubelet is not talking to me. So we already learned this command, right? Systemctl status kubelet. Are you awake? Are you alive? What's going on with you? Why are you not talking to my API server? And it tells me, listen, I'm dead. That's the reason I'm not talking to you. Okay. What do? We need to bring this guy back alive. We already saw that command. We know how to do that as well. And we also realize this is also has been disabled. It can be question, hypothetical question, make note. It says, listen, there's a node which is not in ready state. Okay. Ensure it comes to ready state, and also ensure whatever fix you have done is permanent or persistent. That's a hint for you that there's something is not okay. Right? If something like that is there in the part of the question, fix it, it's fine. And they're also telling you fix it permanently as well. One of the example is this. Fixing is this. Systemctl start kubelet is fixing it. If I come back and look at the status, it is up and running. Good. If you go back to our master node, let me quickly do that for you real quick. If I go back and run the get nodes, that node is being fixed. We are happy, we got our marks, we walked away, but we did not complete that question. They said whatever fix you did, ensure it is permanent. They gave me a subtle hint. Maybe the service was disabled, and it is right now disabled as well. It is started, agreed, but it is still disabled. Meaning, if somebody reboots it right now, what's going to happen? The service is going to go dead again. It's not going to come back up automatically when the system reboots. What's going to happen to the node again? Again, it's not going to go in the not ready state. So the what fix you did was not permanent. So if there is a subtle part which says fix it permanently, you got to look at this. Even if it is there or not, you got to look at this. What do? Systemctl enable just the kubelet right now is fine because it's already started, right? You can also do --- now. It'll ignore it. This is always not only Kubernetes, any system services you deal with, --- now or enable. There's two things in one command. You need to keep an eye on it. Easier. Now, if I go back and look at the status, it shows me enabled. Now I get out of here and I look at my node. It is also in running state, and the fix what we have done is permanent right now. All right. So these are few potential scenarios which I could think of. Please make a note of all of them. All of them are potential questions. I don't say these are the questions going to come. What I mean is potential questions. What else can they ask us from the application point of view, from the components point of view? We looked at the API server not running. We looked at kubelet not running. We looked at the config file being corrupted, not able to connect to. And we looked at the applications. We looked at the commands not being correct, the images not being correct. We looked at having taints out there. We looked at how to add tolerations. And these are the few scenarios. And beyond this, in applications can still fail beyond this point as well. But those may be factors outside your Kubernetes point of view, right? So from the exam point of view, we will stick on to these few things I'm hoping that we have covered all the options out there from your exam point of view. Troubleshooting is our 30% marks, right? Like I also told you this question, there can be combination questions as well. Like, you fix something, that's your troubleshooting. Then you create something else as well. Like, node port service maybe. So you have to fix that part, come back, once it's running, you fixed it, create and do something else as well. All right. That's my 30% out there. Very easy to score. Just practice these scenarios. What do we remember? We know how to check logs. We know how to do describe. We know where to look at logs. That is important. For the pod application logs, we know what to do. kubectl, get pods. What's the command? kubectl log is the command. Log or logs? I don't remember top of my head. kubectl log pod name or logs. Logs, sorry. Whatever streamed onto your terminal of your container is what it's going to show you. Logs, exec, remember the other day, and the attach and the describe are few commands which we're going to look at. And also the kubectl top as well. Let me quickly open real quick. Where did this guy go? Let's go to CNCF real quick. 1 second. CKA. That's my 30%. We've looked at this guy as well. Overview. What? They updated to 1.25 when? 3 days ago. Okay, no problem. So the exams, if you guys are going to take, it's going to be on 1.25. Nice. Things keep changing very drastically. So you need to evaluate cluster and node logging. We know that right now, right? How to monitor applications. Well, there is only one monitoring available by default in Kubernetes. That's your metric server. That monitors your CPU and memory, and there's only one command which exposes and talks to the metrics API. That's your kubectl top. You can look at CPU memory at the pod level, node level, container level. We already know all of that. You should know how to look at your errors, standard output and standard errors. We know how to look at that as well. Troubleshoot application failures. We looked at it today. Troubleshoot cluster component failures. We looked at it today. Troubleshoot networking components. Networking as in the services. The service running and and it's not working. Label selectors are wrong. You need to fix them. Those pods endpoints get added and get those pods get acquired. There's a network policy out there which is preventing you. At the CNI level, they will not ask you to look at it because for that you need to go outside your Kubernetes documentation. So you're safe for that way. The CNI is set up for you, but pods are not able to talk to each other. Network policy gets involved, or they will ask you the service is not working, fix it. Pod selectors gets involved. Ingress rules gets involved. But you know those concepts, so you should be okay. And whatever they ask you from this 30%, I'm 100% sure from what we have done right now and what we have done around those classes as well, you should be definitely able to score 30% exactly out of it.
So guys, this was our expert from Team K21 Academy, and if in case you missed upon any concepts or if you want to dive deeper, then we have something really special for you. We have our free class on Docker and Kubernetes certification to get you higher paying jobs, and in this interactive session we'll be learning about why learn containers, that is Dockers and Kubernetes. You'll be learning about the whole Docker container architecture. You'll be getting to know about some hands-on demo. You'll be getting to know the certifications regarding Kubernetes, CKA, CKS, and CKAD. And we do have Q&As along with a limited time gift. So if you want to enroll for this free class, all you have to do is just log on to k21academy.com/K8s02. And after that, you just have to click on book your free seat now. And after that, you just have to select an event date according to your availability, add your name, your email address, your phone number, and click on yes, save my seat. Moving ahead, you'll be seeing this kind of URL. You can add this URL to your calendars, and I'll see you in the free class. Till then, take care and keep learning.